Hey everyone, it's Groovis, Roger, and I hope you enjoyed that playthrough of the classic edition of Dungeon Quest. That is my favorite, and as I said, this is going to be the final thoughts and powwow about Dungeon Quest, because I think there's a lot of people that were on the fence about this game, and they didn't know whether to buy it, and I've just seen this in forums, and as I said, I am the self-proclaimed king of this game. I'm the guy waving the banner telling people how awesome this game is. So as I promised, here is Mega Dungeon Quest. This is the entire universe, or what I wanted to show you, and I know, this is a lot, isn't it? But remember, you're dealing with a wacko over here. So we're going to go over this a little bit. If you want, just chill out, relax with me, and let's talk Dungeon Quest, because no one's ever done a video like this, so I figured, you know what, I'm going to do it. Why not, right? Okay, so I'm glad you're here. So we're going to get to all these. And I don't, as I always say from my videos, I just talk from the heart. I don't script anything. I just start talking. So I want to start with this. First of all, this is an open invite or I don't know, to Games Workshop. I'll be the spokesperson to say this. You guys need to take this, make the box larger, and reissue this game exactly like this. You need to do this for the fans of this game, for the kids just learning about it, for the young adults getting into this. I love Fantasy Flight games. These are really good renditions of this. That is YOLO, Be Quiet, and this is really what fans want, I believe. And the charm is with this game, with all of these expansions. So this is and I love Games Workshop. Don't change anything. Keep everything the same, and come out with the, the 28th year, so the 28th or 29th year special edition. So there you go. You need to bring this out. First thing, I don't know if you want to hear this, but I'm going to. If you want to hear the history, because this thing has a really cool history to it, because this wasn't Games Workshop. If you look on the back, these things were made, the old ones were made in England, but this game was made in Sweden, believe it or not, and Sweden rocks, by the way. Best hard rock bands and metal bands come out of Sweden. So here, I'm just going to read you a little story about this. Short history of the game. Dungeon Quest was originally published, and indeed still is published, by Olga of Sweden, where it is known as Drakborgen or Dragon's Castle. The game was Olga's longest ever games project, the first version being drafted by hand in 1980, and continually revised and tested until the game was published in 1985. So this thing came from Sweden. And now you're going to learn how Games Workshop got a hold of it. Games Workshop first heard about the game in 1986 when we received an Olga catalog. Dan Guillaumin, hope I said his name right, the man in charge of Olga's game design department and the game's co-inventor along with Jacob Bonds, was kind enough to send us a copy of Drakborgen, meaning they sent us to Games Workshop, along with a translation of the rules. And in no time at all, everyone at GW Design Studio was hooked on this crazy Scandinavian game. It was obviously a winner, so we got back in touch with Dan, and pretty soon a deal had been struck to allow us to publish the English language version of the game. The rest, as they say, is history. So this actually is from Sweden, from 1980. How about that? So almost like, what, a 35-year-old game. So that came out, and this was the first version. So I'm glad I could share that with you. So this came out then. I think my camera's going to die. I think I got to hurry up. And then in '88, they came out with Heroes of Dungeon Quest and the Catacombs expansion after that, shortly after that. And I wanted to show you, I just pulled some of these out. Now, we didn't see any of this stuff here in the playthrough today, but here's some of the, I might have to go quick because I think the camera's going to die. But these were some of the, these are all the heroes. The complete set of the heroes of Dungeon Quest. I might want to pause to take a closer look. And I don't know, I'm thinking maybe every holiday season, for some reason, maybe in December, have an annual thing where I just break it all out and we just have some mega playthroughs of Dungeon Quest, before Christmas and that. That seems pretty good. Blowpipe, there's a lot they added to this. Healing Salve, and then Berserker, they added these new rings. The four same rings from the base edition, and then they added more rings. New combat cards they added here. And then there was, who was that? I think Azoth. Azoth the Faceless has spells for heroes, and we'll touch on that maybe in another playthrough. So that is the Heroes expansion, but again, I think that they really should just keep everything the same, repackage it, bring this back out. I'm going to say right now, this is the essential version. Okay, and then they gave the rights to Fantasy Flight Games in 2010. This came out, and understand me about a gamer. I'm like the cool dude. I'm not the guy like, complaining about a game or this or that. I'm the guy that's like, hey man, let's just chill and play some games. This, though, I don't think was received that well, because they based it in the Runebound universe, and which is fine. I'm totally fine with it. I'm just saying what I've read. And the Tyranoth, which Runebound, I'm going to be doing a playthrough of that. That game is amazing, 2nd edition. And so it's still, I think they changed from Dragonfire, I don't know, Dungeon or something, but they put a spin on it. It's all in Tyranoth. And they went off, which I like this combat system. Believe it or not, you saw the combat system in this one. This is the combat system from 3rd edition, as I call it. And it was not received well at all. I remember there was people just complaining about it. And it's almost a game in itself. And I learned it, and I did like a little solo combat arena, which I'm going to go back and retouch up and work on that. But this was a cool game. But the thing is, it drew the combat out like way, way, way too much. I liked it. A lot of people didn't like it, and they were quick to have a revision of going back to the classic. And there was a few other things I think that people were nitpicking about, and these were the new models. The cool thing is, in which I do have them, I love Runebound. It's another one of my favorite games. And they gave you cards to use these characters in the Runebound game. And so these were the new models for it. And this, of course, was the board, compared to this. But this one got a little flack because of this combat system and a few things. This, just like a year ago, or a year and a half ago, this was going for like $300. It was like ridiculously expensive. So then finally, they went to Revised Edition, and they really cleaned up the problems with 3rd edition in the Revised Edition. And I'm getting to what my 2 cents for you guys. And so here, just to give you an example, these are what the hero cards look like in the new one. They changed some stuff around in the 3rd edition, and it carried over to 4th edition. So this gets all kind of complex. I'm going to try to keep it quick for you. As I said, this was the combat system in this one, and they went back to what worked for the original game, where you had cards that you would draw. See, so you had escape penalty 2, health 2, and then the monster and hero would do kind of like we saw in the playthrough, but with these things. Same exact thing, and it works really well. This was a great rendition to bring this kind of combat back, because it just fits the Dungeonquest universe. And what's interesting, that like Tyranoth is nowhere near mentioned in the Revised Edition, because I think there's like fanatical people out there who there's a real niche for this game, and they want to keep it just this way, and I get that. So they changed that, and remember when we were searching in the other game, you're allowed 2 searches in a room. Well, in the Revised Edition, that's totally gone. They gave you search tokens, and you're allowed to search 1 time, and then you have to put a search there. That's it. You cannot search that room another time. I like that addition. I think that makes it harder, and I love hard, tough games. So the other side is determination tokens. And what that is, when we do, remember when we got trapped over here in those, who was it? Olav was in that trap door, and he was trying to test agility to get out. We had to keep rolling. I like that, but and I like this too. What they do now is, say you had to do that test, you get determination tokens, and you get to add that to the roll you're doing. So say you're testing agility 5, you could add these to it, so it would raise it up, so you could make the test. So that's something else that they changed in this, which I like the determination tokens. It makes it a hair easier, but I like the classic also. And then, of course, here's some of the tiles. Do the top-down view. The tiles look really nice. And what's interesting, in both of these, they added the Catacombs expansion. And if you notice from this board, your UI or user interface, There's no dragon deck, but in the revised edition, they did add a place for the dragon deck. So there's some of the new tiles for this one compared to what you saw. You probably saw a ton of these. So here's my thing. If you're thinking about buying this game, and for what it's worth, my 2 cents, just to give you hand in purchasing this for Christmas or whatever, here's my thing. I definitely wouldn't get this one because it's really expensive still, and the combat system was still not really finalized. I don't think this would be a good purchase. I mean, it's an awesome game. Don't get me wrong. I would say that if you're this right now, you can catch it for $40, and the revised edition is really awesome. It has, of course, the catacombs like we saw in the other one. They added more to it, and this is just more tweaked, and it harkens back to the original more so than the 3rd edition one. And again, you can get this for $40, and it's really good. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, obviously I'd take this. However, when we go to the classic, to me, this is where this game is. I love these games. If on a scale from 1 to 10, 9.5. Awesome. Well, 9, 9.5. That's a glowing 10 right there. Now here's the thing about this, guys. This is really hard to find, especially the Catacombs and the Heroes of Dungeonquest. You're going to pay a lot to get those expansions because, of course, they're out of print. They're 28 years old. This is pretty easy to find, but you're probably going to have to get 2 or 3 sets of these to make one complete set. And sometimes you can catch them on eBay. Someone will say they have a complete set, but you got to make sure you ask people because there's a lot of little pieces to this. And I'll put a link here for you so you can, on Board Game Geek, some nice guy put everything that should be in that edition. So that's the thing. You're going to spend some money to get a complete edition of this, and you're going to spend even more money if you want to get the Catacombs and Heroes of Dungeonquest. What you saw today, we played Catacombs and the base edition. That's what we were running today. We did nothing with Heroes. So if you got the money, you got the time, and you're going to need a lot of patience, you could hunt the original one down. But it's going to be tough. But if you just want to get in there and play this one, and what I'll close out with this. Some of the content from the original, they carried a lot over. Some of it, though, I think, and this is the Fantasy Flight Games. I love their games. This is an awesome company, great customer service. And I guess this is the Fantasy Flight Games, and I speak for everyone on the fans of this. We should really bring out more expansions for this. There is so much content to draw from right here. Look at this. More heroes you could bring out. Remember those, the Snotling battles? Bring that out in expansion for the fans of this game. I mean, I've seen it on boards. People want more stuff. Fantasy Flight Games are going to give you money. You have a wealth of content to draw from. That's what I would say. I'd say build on this and bring out more content, more heroes, and more traps, more tiles, and build upon the revised edition. That's just my 2 cents. Okay, guys, that was a big powwow. I hope I made some kind of sense to you. And again, thank you for watching the playthrough. And again, this is it, and I'm going to close out. The reason that I did this was that, my game that's going to be going on Kickstarter, Dungeon Crusade, I was really inspired by Dungeonquest growing up, and plus tons of other games like Elder Scrolls and Dragon Age and Dark Tower, the old board game Dark Tower, Warhammer Quest, Space Hulk. I mean, it's just like a collage. And so I wanted to get away from Dungeon Crusade because I've been working on that for years, and I feel good. I got out, did some Dungeon Quest as I promised some of my subscribers I was going to do, and I played this, and I feel good. And I guess that's about it. I'm going to put all this away and get to finishing up Dungeon Crusade for you guys on the 28th. And I hope everyone has a nice holiday. I hope Dungeon Quest is on your Christmas list, and we will be doing another playthrough soon. Okay, guys, have a good Christmas, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.